What is the greatest comeback to an insult you've ever heard? A friend in high school on our way to a track meet. He was staring at a car in the parking that was really nice. When this bag saw him. Bag, why bothering looking at that when you know you'll never be able to get one? My friend, the same reason you watch porn. The entire bus erupted, and it's still one of the funniest things I've ever heard. A dude in my class called out a semi-friend of mine that people are talking behind his back. In fact, that wasn't the case, as far as I know. And that guy said, well, you know what they say about you? Nothing. Nobody ducking cares. I'm just impressed that you're friends with a semi. Autobots, roll out. Overheard by me, the school bus driver. One 5th grade student was belittling a 1st grader when it was time for a comeback. 1st grader shouts out, "Congratulations." The bewildered 5th grader had nothing to say and went to sit down with her friends in the back of the bus. Okay, that's kind of ducking adorable. So there was 2 girls fighting, and one of them looks at my sister who was minding her own busyness and says, "You go to hell too, my sister. Do you want me to say anything to your mom?" Many years ago, when we were about 18, a friend of mine was arguing with another person we knew. This person was trying to be a badass and intimidate my buddy. He says me feet are registered. Without missing a beat, my friend replies swear, health and sanitation. 40 years later I still crack up at this when it comes to mind. What does my feet are registered mean? He meant that he was an expert martial artist who had to register with law enforcement because his feet were lethal. In reality, they were, but only because he stunk from infrequent bathing. David Letterman, I'm not as dumb as I look. Tina Fey, how could you be? I miss Tina Fey in movies. 30 Rock made me question if I may not have a thing for older women at that time. At least 90%, because she's so funny and likable. I asked my mother why she always wears makeup despite being in her 40s. She told me she wears makeup so she doesn't look like me. Edit. I was 9. Savage. Ruthless. I used to work with this like 70-year-old woman. She was a supervisor, and one day one of the ladies who worked with us told this old lady to kiss my ass, and the old lady replied, "Where do I start? You're so fat your crack goes all the way up your back." Gran, how many times do we have to tell you, we are not a crematorium? When you deal out sick burns like that, you can make any place a crematorium. A guy makes fun of his bald friend by rubbing his head and saying, "Wow, your head is as smooth as my wife's bottom." The friend also rubs his head and says, "Wow, you're right. Apostrophe. That had to hurt. That's a lot of damage." If you weren't so stupid, what would you be? Asks the husband. The wife replies, without even skipping a beat, "Single. Haha. Love it. Nice one." Someone yelled out in Awamut, "I'm not ashamed of who I am." Another voice echoed back, "That's your parents' job." Definitely a great comeback, but not to an insult, more to an annoyance. I was a camp counselor for a few years at a summer camp. One day my group took a hike to a large rock where we had lunch. My campers were between 8 and 10 years old. This one kid we'll call Jeff keeps poking another kid we'll call Matt in my group to look at this hole in the rock. It's so cool. It's like 6 inches deep and the other kid is clearly getting annoyed just trying to eat his lunch. He keeps shoving sticks into the hole and trying to get everybody to look at it. Finally Matt just puts down his sandwich, looks at Jeff, and goes, "I'll be 6 inches deep in your mom later if you don't shut up." I was trying so hard to be stern with this kid for saying something so inappropriate, but I kept cracking up. It was just such a disproportionately ridiculous thing to say coming from a 9-year-old. To be fair, those are impressive numbers from a 9-year-old, or someone on Reddit. My grandma got into a fight at the grocery store with a guy who told my 9-year-old brother to move the duck out of the way. They were going at it, and his final words were, "Suck my dick, bitch," she said across the store, if I could find it. Bitch. Edit. Not Wamut. Even better oldie. Grammar don't play. Ahish's always trying to fight somebody. On a construction site one afternoon. Different trades were working in the same area. Like silly team sports. The Sparkers always hang with the Sparkers and the Turd Wranglers always hang with the Turd Wranglers, and anytime they're together it turns into a pointless dick measuring contest, usually not literally. One particularly childish exchange saw two men chopping back and forth, my dick biggest. Blah blah blah. Finally one of them spits out this classic, I've got girth like a can of con. And the clap back was unforgettable, but you've got length like a can of tuna. Everyone busted up. Mr. Girth tried to hide his embarrassment, but was tied up. No comeback. And a room of men laughing uncontrollably. Good times. I must know the other names for the rest of the trades. Carpenters are chippies. What are you looking at? I'm still trying to find out. Chelsea Handler told Russell Brand, the way you are looking at me makes me want to cover my vagina. He replied, Mom, if I had a rubber glove, I'd do it for you. Crowd burst into laughter and she even acknowledged that was good. Chelsea Handler was doing a difficult interview with Kevin Spacey, so she offered him a Vicodin and he answered. Do you have any left? During WW1, Switzerland had a tiny standing army, but they were very skilled marksmen. Wilhelm II of Germany asked what 250k Swiss troops would do if he decided to invade with 500k German troops. The Swiss said, shoot twice and go home. Switzerland is actually neutral now, in part because they were such good fighters. Many European countries hired Swiss mercenaries to fight for them. At least, that's what I heard in a YouTube video. Yeah. But nowadays is just to avoid getting wrecked by any enemy Switzerland might face, since it is in the middle of Europe and with a very small army. I was the one insulted, but not the one with the comeback. I was out with a co-worker and her friends and my buddy and I were leaving a little too early for her sensibilities. She jokingly got up in my face and said, smell that? Smells like pussy. A guy playing at the pool table next to us stepped forward and said, I'm sorry, that must be me. I just ate. It was amazing. I expected a better insult from someone of your upbringing and education. Lol, my mom was a librarian and pulled this one on a rude patron. Are you getting smart with me? Would you be able to tell? Savage librarians are my favorite thing in the world. Quiet guy in my art class got called queerbait. He replied with, if I'm the bait then you're the catch of the day. My 10-year-old cousin was pushed aside by an older student at school, who also felt the need to call him a gay child. My cousin told him not to get his hopes up. You wish became the kryptonite to gay jokes in my elementary school for a while growing up. I've been called worse things by better people. For context, this was famously said by former Canadian Prime Minister Pierre Trudeau when he found out Richard Nixon called him an asshole. I didn't know that. That's awesome. My friend's mom said it when her son called her a bitch. Me, we should learn from our mistakes. My friend, so that's why you have a younger sister? A friend of mine was getting bitched at by these two identical twin girls in a class I had once. He replied with a troubling look on his face and said, if you two are identical, how come only one of you are hot? That dude played the long game as those two girls looked rather perplexed for the rest of the session. Fixed. I have something similar. Have a group text made up of 5 people. It's called 3 of my favorite people. You sure do talk a lot for never saying anything. Apostrophe. Easy. Now. Don't let your brains go to your head. I'm definitely using this one. In what situation? The imaginary arguments you have in the shower. I was bullshitting with a couple of buddies and may have suggested that I banged one of their moms. To which said friend replied, my mom's dead. My mouth bypassed my brain and replied, that explains the dirt. Jesus dude, she was already dead. Bravo. And now her son is too. The classic, you're adopted, at least my parents chose to have me. Had a friend growing up who had an adopted brother a year or so younger. They would always talk shit and fight a bit here and there, and one time my friend says to his brother that he was adopted and can go duck off. He knew he was adopted, and without missing a beat he shot back at my friend, yeah well clearly you weren't enough for mom and dad. That's why they bought me. Yes, he used the word bought. Dude bragging. I got a big dick. Friend. What happened? Someone break one off in your ass? Son. Dad, you don't know how to make a joke, dad. I made you. Son. You methodica, dad. Yes. My grandma asked my cousin, who'd had lots of partners and 2 kids at this point, if she was ever going to get married. Cousin. It's not the same nowadays. We don't buy cars without test driving them first. Grandma. Yeah. But they don't let you put 100,000 miles on them either. Point goes to granny. Your cousin's not a car. She's a bicycle. Well, now I'm imagining a bicycle driving a car. Come on. Stop telling me how to live my life. I don't tell you how to live your life. It's not like I come down to the docks at night, knocking the sailors' cocks out of your mouth. Jimmy Care puts down hecklers like a gentleman boss. Anything I've thought of more than an hour after the insult. Yeah, I know those people who tell you to be yourself. Don't listen to them. Has come up with more creative insults, but this is the most memorable. How appropriate. You fight like a cow. Edit. Thank you for the gold. I earned this scar in a mighty struggle. I hope now you've learned to stop picking your nose. Gandhi after a reporter asked him a question. Reporter, what do you think of Western civilization? Gandhi, I think it would be a good idea. In class someone used the S slur on someone, and he replied with, I'm probably as straight as the pole your mom dances on. You know that biceps come in men's sizes. Right. Oh, I think you come in enough men as it is. Oh, I think you come in men enough fair all of us. That's what she said. But she didn't say it to you. I went to Catholic school and the teacher said there's a special place in hell for people like you. And I said back, see you there. Prob Dylan's last phrase of Positively 4th Street. I wish that for just one time you could stand inside my shoes and, just for that one moment I could be you. Yes. I wish that for just one time you could stand inside my shoes. You'd know what a drag it is to see you. I don't care that you broke your elbow. Was out with a friend who was wearing a silly outfit. Someone came up and said, why are you wearing that? It's not Halloween. He replied with, then why don't you take off that hideous mask? I have a twin brother. I'm older. He once told me when I came out, they knew it was a mistake and immediately tried again. I told him he was the buy one get one of equal or lesser value free. There was a fight after that one. Winston Churchill. Of course. Lady Nancy Astor. Winston, if you were my husband, I'd poison your tea. Churchill. Nancy, if I were your husband, I'd drink it. Working construction remodeling apartments and we were all done for the day. Hanging out in the parking lot chatting. Guy walks up, who we could tell he had Down syndrome, and asks what are we up to. The smart ass of the crew said about 6'1" and guy with Down syndrome said he didn't know they stacked shit that high. Best insult I remember to this day. I was in Target. 2 kids and their mom walked past. One kid was singing. The other kid said those aren't even the right words. The singing kid responded without missing a beat. Yeah, well, this is a remix. That's adorable. Your dick is of the size of Tic Tac, no wonder why your mom has good breath every day. This short guy at a bar was talking shit to my friend and he said I'm going to be the bigger man and walk away. To which my friend replied, you will never be the bigger man. LMAO. This is how people get shot. Told a buddy years back, duck you. He replied, no. Duck yourself. It's twice the pussy. Apostrophe. May you live in interesting times. Didn't get this one till COVID happened. It sounds nice, but is actually considered a curse. Exactly. In high school, me and my boyfriend, we were gay, were walking together, and some dumbus came up and said, why are you guys always together? What are you, gay? So my man said, why are you interested? I'd have to save my own I had this one teacher in high school who taught computer classes, and I had taken almost every class she offered, so I knew her very well, and we mostly just goofed off in her class, as long as we got our work done. I was trying to date her daughter throughout all of high school and everyone knew, including her, and every time I met something up, or made a fool of myself, she would hit me with an "That's why you don't have a girlfriend." This became a trend, and about 4 weeks after it was a thing, she said it to me one last time, and I hit her back with "That's why you can't keep a man." She had been through about 5 marriages, and had 1 kid with each. And everyone knew, because she talked about it before. As soon as I said that, she got red and chuckled, and the whole class stopped what they were doing and stared at me like I slapped her straight across the face. One of the overdramatic kids even ran out of classroom hollering. When your ex calls you stupid, you respond, "Yeah, proof of that." Once some woman was trying to road rage with my dad in a parking lot, and he said in a monotone voice to reply to her, "Why don't you act your age and die?" Hey, thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.